It always starts small. A single boot stepping outside its lawful barracks. A single uniform encroaching where it does not belong. And a single silence from the citizens who were too distracted, too demoralized, or too sedated by spectacle to notice that a foundational line, the final guardrail, has been breached. But today, that silence ends. Today, as tanks roll down Pennsylvania Avenue in what can only be described as an authoritarian cosplay parade, the American public will be treated to the most grotesque inversion of the founder's vision in living memory. Flags will wave, bands will play, cameras will pan across saluting soldiers while the President of the United States sits atop it all like a gilded idol, pouting for applause. But beneath the brass and bravado, something fragile is dying, something precious, something irreplaceable. That something is civilian rule. Let's not pretend this started overnight. It didn't begin with the detainment of Marcos Leo in Los Angeles the other day when a United States Marine, in full combat gear, detained a protester during a peaceful demonstration. It didn't start when Trump's Pentagon staged a domestic military deployment to suppress manufactured dissent in America's own streets. The seeds were planted far earlier, under the surface, rotting through the roots while everyone debated the branches. To understand the gravity of this moment, we must return to 2012. Not the election, not Obama, but a little-known publication titled Full Spectrum Operations in the Homeland, a vision piece in the Small Wars Journal written by retired U.S. Army Colonel Kevin Benson and Dr. Jennifer Weber. It asks readers to consider the possibility of U.S. troops being deployed in American cities, against American citizens, under the guise of domestic peacekeeping during a fictional rebellion in Darlington, South Carolina. A rebellion sparked not by insurrectionists, but by disaffected Tea Partiers and unemployed veterans driven to desperation by economic collapse and perceived government overreach. That was the scenario. But here's the twisted irony. It was written as a warning, and the very people it sought to defend against tyranny reacted with fury. Far-right pundits cried treason. Glenn Beck invoked martial law. Oath keepers vowed to resist it with arms. They believed it was a blueprint for liberal dictatorship. But it wasn't. It was a mirror. And like all true mirrors, it revealed something deeper. A subconscious projection of what the right itself would go on to attempt. What they feared most wasn't tyranny. It was accountability. And when given power, they followed that blueprint to the letter. All they changed were the names and the slogans. From 2016 onward, the constitutionalist right, those self-declared defenders of liberty, systematically dismantled the very constraints they once claimed to hold sacred. The separation of military and civilian power, the principle of civilian supremacy, the firewall between federal force and local dissent. All of it trampled beneath the gold-plated boots of a man-child so insecure in his authority, he must shout, "I am the president," at every challenge. Let me say what should be obvious to anyone with a shred of dignity. Any man who must say, "I am the king," is no true king. Tywin Lannister said that, a fictional tyrant, and even he had more shame. We now live in a nation where the president uses military might not as a shield for the people, but as a sword against them. Where protests are reframed as insurrections and dissent is repackaged as treason. Where Marines roam the streets of Los Angeles operating under rules of engagement written not in law, but in loyalty to the throne. And make no mistake, that is what this is. A throne, not a presidency, not a republic. A throne built on fear, spectacle, and the slow, methodical erosion of consent. Posse Comitatus is not a suggestion. It is the final wall between a free society and military rule, passed in 1878 to prevent federal troops from acting as domestic police. It was the last legal scar of Reconstruction, a reminder that the military must never again be turned inward against the citizenry. It is our firewall against empire. But like all firewalls, it only works if we refuse to normalize the breach. When Trump first floated the idea of a military parade in 2018, the world laughed. It was gauche, un-American, something you'd expect from Kim Jong-un or Joseph Stalin, not a sitting U.S. president. Even the Pentagon hesitated, knowing full well what it would symbolize. But now, in the final act of a decade-long authoritarian drift, the laughter has died. The tanks have arrived. The spectacle has begun. And history, once again, is being rewritten by those who do not believe in its lessons. Understand this. America has never done military parades for a reason, because true power does not need to perform. Only the weak demand awe. Only the insecure crave applause. Military parades are not a celebration of strength. They are a performance of control. A lie told through marching boots and synchronized rifles. They do not honor the troops. They dishonor the republic. We are not witnessing the rise of strength. We are witnessing the desperate tantrum of a dying illusion. The illusion that this nation is governed by the will of the people. The illusion that laws still apply equally. The illusion that the military serves the Constitution before it serves the president. It is not a question of if Posse Comitatus has been violated. It has. The question now is whether we, the people, are willing to accept that violation as normal. Whether we will allow the breach to become the new baseline. And to those self-described patriots still cosplaying the Boston Tea Party in your minds, where the hell are you now? Where are your cries of tyranny now that a Marine is throwing citizens into vans into the heart of Los Angeles? Where is your reverence for the Constitution now that a president is marching military forces past the Capitol in a display of power fit for a czar? You've become what you once feared. You've traded your tricorn hats for red caps and your liberty for theater. You've knelt, not to God, not to country, but to a man. And when history asks what you did to stop it, you will have no answer. But we will. We, the children of enlightenment, we, the keepers of the flame, we will answer with our presence. We will answer with our resistance. We will answer not with hate or blood, but with truth, with clarity, with a new vision born not of nostalgia, but of becoming. The final breach has come. The line has been crossed. And now it is up to us, not just to defend what was, but to build what must be. Only this time, there are no more guardrails. Only we, the people.